top 10 list of Fast and Furious movie vehicles.
All right, let's see what our number 10 picks were. So I know what mine was, and you know what yours is. So
I think so.
I'm seeing yours for the first time, and you're seeing mine for the first time.
All right.
No pun intended.
Ready? We gonna remove it together?
Yes.
All right. On 3, 2, 1. Wow! You have. Wow.
Hey. Surprised, huh?
I am. Okay. Wow. I'm. Okay. You can go first. You can do the honors. I want to hear this.
So, one of the reasons why I have Dom's Charger as number 10 is because, look, there are more than 120 cars in this Fast and Furious franchise. Has his car played a pivotal role? Absolutely. I think that Dom's car really helped to establish what the legacy of the Fast and Furious is all about, from that first race as to where they're jumping through the train tracks all the way down to all of the other movies that he brought the Charger out in. However, there is something to be said about playing your magic card, playing that same card over and over and over again. And you know what? I think that him bringing out the Charger so often, is it cool? Absolutely. But also at the same time, it loses its significance a little bit. So, I think that it's one of the most important cars in the series. No, in the franchise, no matter what. But there's so many of them.
Okay. All right. I get that point. All right. I am shocked though. In the top 10 that the Chargers. All right. Okay. All right. So I chose Brian's R34 GTR from Furious 7 as my 10th vehicle.
R35?
R35, yeah.
Sorry.
And the reason why I have it as top 10 or number 10 in my top 10 is for a few reasons. So the first one was its nod back to the very, very first Fast and Furious, where the Civics are going underneath the truck, right? You have that scene also represented in Furious 7 in that highway chase when the drone is chasing them.
True.
So that was very impactful for me, and as a nod or a testament to the previous Fast and Furious movies. The second one was it highlights Brian's love for GTRs. The R35, the GTR heritage is very apparent throughout the franchise, and for this one to be, his hero car throughout the rest of the movie, with that main action sequence for the drone chasing them through LA and all that stuff. So that's why I have it as my number 10.
I think that's a fair assessment.
I thought so.
Yeah.
I'm still a little.
You know what? Okay. I'm going to concede on this round, and I think that you won this one.
Wow. Yeah, I guess. Judging by Jordan's 10, I'm really curious what 9 is.
Coming in at number 9, homie. All right, let's go.
Number 9. 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Whoa.
All right.
Okay. A little bit of a singularity here.
There you go.
Okay.
All right. At least we can agree with this. Though I am curious to see what your justification was, to see if it lines up with mine. Maybe we have a different reason.
How about if you go first this time?
Okay. So I picked the Lykan HyperSport as number 9. Again, for a few reasons, but the main one is because it has one of the most memorable action sequences in Furious 7 with them jumping through the building. Plus, I like the fact that it just was one of those things where it really brought Dom and Brian together. It's just a simple reason for
man,
that.
He's so family oriented. I didn't even think about that.
Cool to see them now all of a sudden kind of flip that script and really work together and just kind of solidify what that relationship and friendship was about family and all that stuff. Plus, given the feeling that you were going into watch Furious 7 with,
Yeah.
that's why it was impactful for me. So
very heavy feeling. Yeah. Okay. Well, the reason why I have this as my number 9 car, because I have this thing as to where when you have a car that is so rare, so almost nearly impossible to get So my supercar sort of inner fanboy just starts coming out. You know, if we're going to talk about the facts of what the Lykan HyperSport is, I mean, you know, there's only 7 of them in the entire world. Only 3 of them have actually sold, meaning that 4 of them are just out there chilling out, waiting. And the very fact that now the entire world has seen this car and they know what's out there, I just found that to be pretty cool, because when I had first seen this on screen, I was like, what the hell is that?
So this is purely a personal,
yes.
Decision to have it as 9 for you.
Most of my judging criteria is very personal, and I won't lie about that. But I mean, look, it was very cool to see them jump it out of a building and to destroy a $3.5 million car. But it's just so rare.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree with that, and that's based on the 3 criteria that we have anyway.
And then plus 2, I mean, if something has only been in one film for just a matter of like, you know, a few seconds or maybe a minute or so, but people are still talking about it and like it's made such a wide impact on pop culture. Yeah, I think that there's a reason to place it in our top 10. Yeah, here being at number 9.
I agree.
All right, so I guess that we both win this round.
All right, perfect. Let's do this.
1,
3, 2, 1. You have a Dodge Charger police car in your top 10.
Well, look, there's a reason for that.
Of all the Fast and Furious cars, you have a Dodge Charger police car in your top. Okay.
If you allow me. Well, look.
Okay. The floor is yours.
So for everyone out there watching, we didn't make the car that I chose as my number 8. So we just sort of had to improvise with a car that we already have. So my actual pick are
Okay, so it's not an actual Dodge Charger police car.
Well,
or it, okay, good. Just keep going.
It kind of so for my number 8, I chose the murdered out black Dodge Charger SRTs from Fast 5.
Okay, all right. Okay, I agree with that a little bit more than the police car. I was thrown off by.
And so my reason for choosing these as my number 8 is because not only am I a fan. He's laughing because
I was so thrown off. I was
so the reason why I chose this as my number 8, I feel like the Dodge Chargers from Fast 5 in that final scene. First off, you have these 2 murdered out black on black Dodge Chargers rolling into that bank vault, tying up their cables, and with God knows how much horsepower, they whip that giant bank vault throughout the entire city, destroying everything in their path. The reason why that was so cool to me was because I feel like that scene at the end of Fast 5 was very indicative of what we're going to be expecting throughout the entire series. Because if you really look at it, you know, from Fast 1 all the way up to about Fast 4, most things were still about the underground street racing vibe, small time jobs, still cool, but very small time. Fast 5 was when they like went big, and they're starting to get into these global and these sort of international heists. And so, you know, so when you have those 2 Chargers just destroying everything in the city with the bank vault, well then how is Fast and Furious supposed to ante up in Fast 6, then Fast 7, then Fast 8? Things just got more and more crazy. Things just started to sort of escalate more and more. So that's why I have the Dodge Charger SRTs from Fast 5.
Okay. I thought you straight up was just going with the police car.
You thought I was trolling, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. I was like, wait a second. I mean, you have the Charger, your number 10, and then you have the police car above that. But no, okay, I agree with that assessment. And I think when you're looking at the overall franchise and things like that, for me personally, Fast 5 was my personal favorite. And that action sequence with the bank vault, totally one of the best. And actually watching that made me want a matte black Charger.
For real, right?
Yeah. All right. So for me, I have obviously the Offroad Charger from Furious 7 as my pick. For, again, multitude of reasons, but again, when I'm weighing the significance and impact on the franchise and things like that, kind of to your point with these Chargers kind of setting the tone for what that franchise is going to be, in terms of action stunts and how they're continuing to ante up. This car dropped out of an airplane, and I just, to me, I can't really fathom that. For them to be able to try that, execute it the way that they did, and throw it into a movie. I thought that was by far and away very impactful for me. And also, I think the overall significance of this particular Charger was the first time, I believe, in the entire franchise that we saw a different iteration of Dom's Charger. So to your point, where you had your Charger as a number 10 because it was casted over and over and over again as the Charger, the regular street Charger, I believe this was the first time we saw some crazy variation of that street Charger, which then led to, obviously the ice Charger that we saw in 8 and things like that. So this, in its own way, kind of built a little game of trying to ante up the Charger in a way. So that's why I picked the off-road Charger.
Okay, I could see that. And I mean, if you really stop and think about it, what kind of crazy thinks of, hey man, how about if we get a Charger and go off-roading with it? That's crazy.
That's the coolest concept.
That is pretty awesome.
And we were fortunate to be able to meet the guy that built it. And what's cool about it is he builds it all for functionality. And so when we met him, Dennis McCarthy, he was like talking how he wanted to enter it into Baja 1000 or, something like that. It actually does perform and do what it's supposed to do, which is the mind-blowing thing.
Well, Dennis is a mad scientist.
Yeah, I mean, these cars are so capable, other than being movie cars.
Well, one of them has to go.
I'm biased, man. I got to go with the off-road Charger.
Yeah?
Off-road Charger versus the matte black, Chargers. Visually, personally. We weighed the impact and significance more so on the franchise, but personally, if you saw these two cars, you're telling me you would pick the matte black Charger, that's a stock body essentially, over a wide body modified off-road Charger.
Next. Number 7.
All right.
3, 2, 1.
Whoa,
hold on a second. Hold on a second. You have Honda's RX-7 placed that high, placed that low on the list?
Yeah.
Whoa. Well, I got to hear this one.
I mean, okay.
You got some explaining to do.
Well, okay, so when I'm putting together the top 10 and I'm looking at the entire franchise of cars that are available and things like that, just what has big impact and significance, right, to the franchise. This car, while I have a personal love for it, it's not a strong enough impact on the overall franchise. But why I have it as number 7, I think it's also pivotal in the way that it kind of introduces a developed Han, where we saw him reappear in the later Fast franchises or movies when it's supposed to be him prior to Tokyo Drift, right? Okay. So we get a little sense about him, but we don't know his backstory. And in Tokyo Drift, specifically with this car, I feel like this car is a very nice representation of him. Other than a personal bias, that's why I couldn't put it any higher. Okay. So you're being very objective, I see. Yeah. I do love the car, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I would love it if I had one.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just shell out about $25,000.
Yeah, real talk.
On the kit alone. All right. Well, for me, my number 7, I have Dom's Plymouth GTX.
Good choice.
Yeah. So we saw this one in Fast 8, and something about this Plymouth GTX in this particular color with the GT stripes and just the way that it was presented in Fast 8, the way that he used it as a literal sort of weapon in its own type of way, just left a lasting impression on me because the whole entire team is chasing after him, shooting their dart guns into his car, trying to pull him, and I just found it so cool how with God knows how much horsepower, Dom just hits for nitrous, and like he's able to hold everyone off at bay. You know, that whole scene where like everyone is like, he must have 2,000 horsepower in that thing. Try 5. I'm like, what does that even mean, bro? Well, you know, but that scene, that was just so cool. And then plus just something about, you know, I have a soft spot for murdered out black on black muscle cars in particular. And I think that the GTX, even though it was only featured in one film, there are some scenes that just still the entire movie. But then there are some cars that I think that because of their scenes can still close to the entire franchise.
I would agree. It's kind of in its own way, it's the same assessment that I use for Hans RX-7, whereas only in one scene really, or one movie, but you know, a small, it's a medium-sized portion of the movie. But I can go either which way with these ones.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the GTX is a solid pick.